Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Frontline with Joe and Joe. Joe Pasillo, as always, joined by Joe Resinello. And once more, dear brothers and sisters, let us go in to the breach on the Veritas Catholic Radio Network. 1350 on your AM dial, 103.9 on your FM dial, serving the New York metropolitan area, spreading the truth of the Catholic faith. Please be sure to download the Veritas Catholic Radio Network mobile app so that you can have access to all of our station's content. And also, if you don't mind terribly, help Joe and I out wherever you find us on social media, on the Frontline TV, in particular on YouTube. That's the primary station we're trying to build up. We passed 61,000 subscribers. We have a really nice audience there, and it's growing. It's thanks to all of you. So whatever you could do, like, subscribe, share, and do all that fun stuff. So usually we're Joe and I, when we're doing our interviews, we're interviewing authors, those obviously who have written books, primarily in America, Sophia Institute Press, Ignatius, and the like, St. Paul Center. Today, we have an important conversation, and we have a special guest with us, Father Jakub Debicki, and he is a Ukrainian priest, and he agreed to come on the show and take from his day to join us to talk about what's going on in the Ukraine. He is a missionary priest. So that'll be our topic for today: the church in need, Ukrainian Catholics on the brink of what could potentially be Russian occupation. So, Father's got a lot to say, and we want to talk to him about it. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Joe Resinello.
Father, first off, it's great to see you. I know Father from New Jersey. He would come and spend some time at my parish. I go to a Polish-American parish. He was ordained in Poland, and he knew my pastor. And as he would come, he would tell us about his work in the Ukraine, which is fascinating. And as Joe Pasillo rightfully said, a lot is going on in the Ukraine now geopolitically. So we want to hear a little bit about that. But first, we always begin with prayer, because all good things start with the prayer. And this is obviously a very good thing. So, Father, would you lead us in a short prayer?
Yeah, of course. I have just finished my charismatical renew group, so we were praying. We were praising the God, and I think that Holy Spirit will lead us on this meeting. And let us pray together to our Father in heaven to help us in that meeting. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us
this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Holy Spirit, lead us.
Amen. He's never let us down, and he won't let us down now, Father. There's no doubt about it. I guess a good place to start is, how did you end up in the Ukraine? I remember you telling me that you wanted to be a missionary priest and your bishop sent you there. The story is very similar to like Mother Cabrini. She wanted to go east, and the Pope said, no, you will go to America. You have a similar story like that. You didn't think about the Ukraine. You wanted to do some missionary work, and your bishop sent you there. Could you give us a little background on that?
Yeah, it was quite a funny story because, I was born, as you said, in Gdynia in northern Poland. And after finishing high school, I went to seminary in Gdańsk. I was ordained in 2010. And after a few years in my home diocese, I found out that I wanted to serve as a priest in a different country, a country where there would be a need for priests. Much greater than they need us in Poland, because in Poland we've got big parishes. You've got about sometimes 2, 3, 5 priests in one parish, so it's okay. And I was looking for the place where can I serve the people who are in need. So I was talking to different bishops. For example, in France, I was meeting my friend who is in nearby the Paris, and he's the pastor. Can you believe? in 16 parishes. Yeah, one priest for 16 parishes.
Wow.
And he was inviting me there. I was talking to bishop in Columbus, Ohio, and he said to me, Father, if you come to us, I will give you 2 or 3 parishes from tomorrow. So, I was looking the place when I can be a priest and where there is a need of priest. And I know in some areas in, for example, New Jersey, people need priests, but, people have own priests. But I was looking for a place that people will need a priest. They will really need a priest, let's say that, yeah. And so that I was looking for a diocese like that. And I have some talks with the bishops. And when I came to my bishop, and he said, okay, Father, I can understand. Of course, it's a beautiful idea. I know there are people who need a priest and all things like that. But he said, but you are a young priest. You have to serve in our diocese. If you want to go to France or to United States, and I want to say, because I know those languages, so I wanted to go in those countries, yeah. And my bishop said, okay, I can understand, those languages, you can serve people there. It's a beautiful idea. Of course, I can support you, but you are a young priest and you have to serve in your home diocese for another few years. And after a few years, I will let you to another country. But Bishop from Lviv just called me and he said that he needs a priest. And if you want to go to Ukraine, you can go even tomorrow. So I wasn't prepared for that because, I wasn't thinking about Ukraine. I was thinking about other countries, as I told you. And this was a huge surprise. But I am quite stubborn. So I said, oh, Your Excellency, I have to think about it. And I was waiting another month and I came to him and I said another time, this story that I want to go to France or to United States. And he was, oh, yes, of course, beautiful idea. But Bishop in Lviv is looking for a priest. If you want to go there, you can go tomorrow. And those talk we were talking like this every month. And when I knew that I have to make a decision, I have prepared 2 documents that I want to be a missionary priest, and I started like always. Bishop, like always, said, of course, in few years. Then I took another document and said, okay, so I will go to Ukraine, and Bishop signed it and said, okay, welcome you next month. Come to me, and we will prepare all the documents. And after that, I called my friend who is from my diocese, and he is now here in Ukraine, and he went here 2 years before me. And I called him and I said, John, can you tell me how is to be a priest in Ukraine? Because I'm going to you. He started because I made a decision, and then I started thinking, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?
Yeah, what's funny, Father, is that Joe mentioned earlier at the top of the show is that, he met you in New Jersey. So the immediate question in my mind is, where are you most better serving, in New Jersey or the Ukraine? Because we kind of need you in this godforsaken state too. But let me not go there, because we could probably spend hours on how bad New Jersey is. But obviously, you got the call and you went. Did you know? Now I heard you mention you were talking about France. Obviously, we know you know English. Obviously, we know you know how to speak Polish. How similar of a language is the Ukrainian language? And was it rough for you to have to learn the language, or did you learn the language?
No. Because as I told you, I was learning at school French and English language. I have family in Germany, so I know a little bit German, but Ukrainian language was something new for me. Of course, there are some people from Ukraine in Poland, and I met them before. But when they are in Poland, they speak Polish. When I came to Lviv here there are a lot of people who speak Polish. So it wasn't a problem for me to communicate. And, when I was living here, I live here, so I tried to talk to them. And it wasn't so hard. But the first thing which was very hard for me was reading and celebrating the Mass. Because, in Ukraine, we have Cyrillic alphabet, like in Russia. And when I opened those books, I made a big eyes and oh my God, what is that? So I had to start reading in the Cyrillic alphabet, and I had to learn this. So speaking was quite okay. It wasn't so hard, but reading and celebrating the Mass in Ukraine, it was something something
All
hard.
right. Thank you for that, Father. You're listening to the Frontline with Joe and Joe Pasillo, Joe Resinello. We're in the breach with Father Jakub Debicki, and he is a missionary priest in the Ukraine, and we wanted to talk to him about the state of the church and what's going on, or, as far as he could tell in that part of the world. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Joe Resinello.
Now, obviously, you're a Polish priest. How did the people there receive you? I mean, I don't know, like, the cultures. I mean, I know the Polish culture in America, but how did the Ukrainian people receive you when you got there?
It was very nice because we have to understand the situation here. First, Ukraine was a part of Soviet Union. So religion wasn't something popular, let's say that, in diplomatic way. There was only 2 churches here in our area which were opened and where people could pray. And this was atheistic country, Soviet Union. So churches were closed, were destroyed. For example, one of my churches was destroyed. Another one was prepared as I forgot the word.
It's okay.
Okay.
It was converted into something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
As barn for cows,
Okay. Sure.
horses. And something like that. So when I came here, people was very kind for me because first they knew that after Soviet Union there was a problem with the priests. There was no priests here. And another thing, when I came from Poland, they are thinking about me that I left Poland, my homeland. Poland is a part of European Union, and I serve people there, and I had a good salary in Poland. I had a good car in Poland, a good rectory in Poland, and I came to them, and for them it was something. Oh wow, Father, you did something big for us. So after the Soviet Union and this situation today, for them it was something huge. For me, it's okay, but they are very thankful.
Mm-hmm. And Father, you mentioned the Soviet Union. I mean, geopolitically right now, there's a potential crisis going on. Obviously, we've heard in America that, Russian troops are at the border of the Ukraine. What's going on? Basically, boots on the ground. Like, what are people saying about that? 2022, we could very easily see a Russian invasion. You mentioned that they were once a part of the Soviet Union, and it seems to me that Putin wants to have them a part of it again.
Firstly, we have to say that in Ukraine, there is still war because in eastern border, there is still war there. People have to defend the country against Russian aggression because, you know, a war which started in 2016, yeah, is still going. So there is still war there. So we know that, for example, some of my parishioners, some of men who are my parishioners, have to go to defend their country against Russian aggression. Yeah. So let's say that we are all the time at war. So for us, I don't want to say that it's something normal, usual, but you know we are at war. So we know that Russian President Putin is crazy guy. We are afraid of him because he's unpredictable, and we don't know what will he do. Yeah. We are praying a lot that that can save us from that Russian aggression, but we really don't know what will happen.
Right. How are well, let me say this first, just for anybody joining us. You're at the front line with Joe and Joe. We're having a great conversation with Father Jakub Debicki. He is a missionary priest in the Ukraine. The people you serve, Father, I mean, what are the state of things from your perspective as far as the fear level on the part of the Ukrainian people that you could see? Are they genuinely afraid that Russia's just going to outright invade the Ukraine? Is it going to be just at the borders? What is the general sentiment amongst the Ukrainian people that you could see?
We are afraid. We are afraid of Putin because we don't know, as I told you, what he will do. Because now there is a hard situation in Russia. He have to do something to get voted another time. Yeah, Putin is also, as I told you, crazy guy, and he's thinking about new Russia or renew the Soviet Union, something like that. Yeah. Another thing is that he has to make a way from Russia to Crimea. Yeah, because there is a problem with water. This is also very important place for strategy, geopolitics, for soldiers, and there is a problem to get there. So he need way from Russia to Crimea and to Moldavia. So probably he won't attack whole the Ukraine because it will be big war, but we know that he wants to take those part, let's say southern part of Ukraine, and so that generally people are afraid. People are really afraid because we know that it could happen. It's a huge problem for us. Here in Lviv, we know that he won't probably come here. It's too far from Russian border to come to Lviv. Yeah, but on the other hand, we know that, as I told you, I have some parishioners, some men who are soldiers. So when they go to defend their country, we all in parish are praying for them. Because, for example, I have one guy who is named Andrew. In Ukraine, it will be Andriy. He have a nice wife, 2 sons, and you know this is a beautiful family. And when he go for the to the war, we have to pray because you know this is huge problem for this family. So we know that probably Putin won't come to Lviv, but for our families, for this society, this is a huge problem.
It's also,
Father
there's a lot of
Debicki-
history there.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Joe. Like Father Jakub Debicki is joining us at the front line with Joe and Joe. We're talking about the state of the Ukraine. We want to get into the state of the church in the Ukraine, which we will. But right now we're talking about a little bit of the tense situation that's being presented by Russia. Father, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe Joe and I are just a couple of dumb rubes from New Jersey, and we just ask too many obvious questions like anybody. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was organized to defend Europe against Russian aggression. Was it not? Am I wrong about that? And how does NATO not step in on some level? Look, we know the Europeans. No offense, Father. We know you're born in Poland. Okay, so we have the same criticism for America, but the Europeans seem to have been on a cultural and civilizational suicide mission for the last 100 years. Okay, but they created NATO to keep a check on Russia. Is NATO doing anything now to, let's say, push back against Russia, particularly when it comes to their threats against the Ukraine, as you mentioned?
I don't see that because, firstly, Ukraine is not part of NATO. Yeah. So Poland is part of NATO. Ukraine is not. So, so this is first problem, and we have to handle it. Let's say that Ukraine is alone because geopolitical situation is very complicated in Europe because Russia and European Union have a lot of business together, you know. And Ukraine is, let's say, between them. It's not a part of Russian because we are free. Now we are not a part of Soviet Union, but we are also not a part of European Union.
Right.
So this is quite hard for us, you know, because we don't know what to do.
And also, I mean,
I'm going to hand it over to Joe. Joe, Joe, I want to just one more question real quick. But then is the world going to allow, Father, is it going to allow what happened 100 years ago when the Russians slaughtered the Ukrainians, left them starving on their farms? Is the Western Europe and all the people that are doing business with Russia and Putin, are they going to sit back and allow that to happen again? I don't mean to be overly dramatic, but we've seen, nearly 2 million Ukrainians dead at the hands of the Russians within the last 100 years. And it seems like Russia would be very happy and to serve its own interest by doing something similar, and the Europeans aren't going to do a damn thing. Quick comment on that, Father, and then I want to hand it over to Joe.
I'm not expert in politics, but I think that, as I told you, Ukraine is now let alone, so it could be a problem. And another thing is that, don't get me wrong, but I think that Putin, for me, that guy is possessed, and he is in satanic way, very, very smart, not good way. In satanic way, he is very smart, and he really knows what to do with Ukraine to get what he wants. And this is the problem. I think that it's not only politics. I think that this is something more in that. So I think, yes, it will be a problem with him.
And Father, what is the state of the church in the Ukraine? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm very ignorant of it. What is it like? Is it a vibrant place? Is Catholicism on the move, or is it something that, the churches are empty? We know what's going on in mainland Europe, in countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, France. They're elder sisters of the church. The churches are empty. What's the state of the church in the Ukraine currently?
Oh, we are growing up. It's it's good news because we are growing up. I think that this is our situation because, we have problem with Putin, as we told before. We have problem with pandemic, with coronavirus, yeah, and people also are very poor here, and they are looking for some help. But the very interesting thing, when I came here more than 5 years ago, I was thinking that, okay, I'm going to poor country and I have to support them. Yeah, I have to collect funds and I have to do charitable things. I am running a kindergarten. I am opening the school. I am doing a lot of things with those children. But I'm here for 5 years, and I think that I see that the most important thing is spiritual way of spiritual, something spiritual, or let's say that. Yeah, because when I came here, I was thinking about, as I told you, charitable things. But now I think that Jesus is much more important in that, because, you know, those people always was very poor. Those people, as you told before, always had problem with Russia. And for us here, it's maybe nothing new, but I know that those people here are looking for something more. They don't need money. They don't need something big. They need Jesus Christ. And you know, when I started when I started serving in this parish, I started to give people hope, give people spiritual life. I was, you know, I'm laughing that my people are not in standard. We are not a standard way parish. Yeah. For example, all of my parishioners have my phone number, and if they have to confess, they can call me, and they can come to rectory, you know. And I see that people need that. They need to speak to the priest. They need to confess. I have also, as I told you, charismatical renew group. We are praising God, and I have some people who are coming to me with another problems. And you know, I see the most important thing here for us, Catholic Church in Ukraine, is to give Jesus Christ. No, not only charitable things, you know, but Jesus Christ and spiritual life. And I think this is our place here in Ukraine. And I see also, because, you know, it's a funny story, but Orthodox and Greek Catholic priests, they, you know, live with wives, with the children. And for example, they don't have time for people like we Roman Catholic priests. Yeah. So people are coming to us to simple talk, to confess their sins, to pray together, you know. And I think that this is our place. Give Jesus Christ, giving the spiritual life.
I couldn't agree with you more. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about life itself for your parishioners? Like, what kind of work do they do? What's their day-to-day like? To be honest with you, I don't know that much about the Ukraine. If you could give us a little bit of info on that.
Father Jakub Debicki, I'm going to cut you off in about a minute or so to go to a break, and then we'll continue on the other side. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay. So if you are asking me about work and about live here, we have to know that as a natural consequence of the situation in the border and the war is a lot of poverty here. For example, if they work, my people here, they make equivalent about $150. It's monthly salary for them here in Ukraine. Yeah, maybe we have to know that. And another thing is that the huge problem here in Ukraine is a huge disproportion between salary and prices. Because, you know, when you come to Lviv, you can see beautiful restaurants, you know, you can see beautiful churches, you have a lot of things to do. You can go to cinema, you can go to other places, but, you know, this is for tourists. The normal Ukrainian people cannot afford that, because there is a huge problem between salary and prices.
Father, let me leave it. I want you to come back to that on the other side of the break. I think that's very important for our listeners to know. So we are being joined by Father Jakub Debicki. He's a missionary priest in the Ukraine, joining us here at the front line with Joe and Joe on the Veritas Catholic Radio Network, 1350 on your AM dial, 103.9 on your FM dial, serving the New York metropolitan area. Please be sure to download the Veritas Catholic Network mobile app so that you could have access to all of our station's content. Please be sure to follow Joe and I on Facebook, YouTube, primarily the Frontline TV, the Frontline TV. We'd really appreciate a like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. So we're with Father Jakub Debicki. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the front line with Joe and Joe, Joe Pasillo and Joe Resinello. We are way in the breach with Father Jakub Debicki. He is a missionary priest serving the people of the Ukraine. And we're talking about the situation there, the state of the Catholic Church, how the people are living a day-to-day life. In light of the fact that the Russians are at the border, there is, as Father pointed out, there has been war going on at the border since 2016. It's just a continuation of that, and it could potentially get worse. But Father, I had cut you off at the end of the first segment. We were talking about the day-to-day life of Ukrainians, and you were talking about the disparity between prices and wages. So I really want our audience to understand what's going on in that regard. So if you don't mind, please continue.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I will give you an example for that, because when I talk about Ukrainian situation in United States or something like that, maybe you cannot understand. But for example, when I'm talking about disproportion about salaries and prices, okay, I will give you a question. Is this a huge problem for you to tank your car, to drive your car, to buy a car?
No, no, not really.
No. So can you imagine that if you wanna tank your car for full, your salary is enough only for 2 times? 2 times.
Wow.
For example, if you, I don't know what is the normal salary in United States, but let's say that it will be 2,000. So if you tank your car once, you have to pay $1,000. So you can only tank your car twice for monthly salary. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, Father, about that? I really want to emphasize something that Joe and I say on the show all the time, and this is a problem with America. Okay, this is a criticism of our mindset. We can't imagine that. Now, I think it's a bad idea, a really bad idea, that gas prices in California are at about $8 a gallon, just to give you an example. But those people could still afford to put gas in their car, if you know what I mean. We have no clue in America about something like you just described, where half of your monthly income could go to fill up your tank once. I think we need to keep things in perspective in America, and that's why I wanted to just throw that out there, Father. But please continue.
Okay, and my people are quite poor, and they cannot afford something like that. We don't go to restaurants, we don't go very often by car. There are some buses who drive people in cheap way and like that. But you know that another thing is what I didn't knew and I didn't met in Poland. Everyone nearby his home here in my village have some kind of garden that we have our, let's say, organic food, some potatoes, carrots, some cucumber. Some of people have own chickens, some of them have cow and fresh milk. So for me it's something beautiful. I am coming back to my childhood when I was going to a farm and I was drinking fresh milk, just from this morning. I was eating scrambled eggs, fresh yellow ones, and I have it here. So people people are are poor, but I think that they know how to handle this situation. Another thing, what is very important for me, and I think which will be important for our talk, that people here are very, very good. I tell you, I am Polish priest. I have support from Poland, sometimes from United States. But can you imagine that people are bringing here for my rectory some fresh eggs, bread they were making by homemade bread, you know, and all the stuff. And I'm not starving. No, I'm in poor country, but people here are very good, and they sometimes say, "Oh, please, Lady Maria, I don't need this bread. I know you are from poor family. Oh, Father, it's nothing for me. You got 48 children in kindergarten. You need it more. But I have support from Poland. You know, I can handle that. No, you need it more. I will eat something else." And, you know, for me, this is something unusual and beautiful. I will tell you another story. I was, can you imagine? I was during the holiday with my sister and her husband in Carpathian Mountains. And he felt bad during the road, the way, yeah? And we stopped. And can you imagine that people from houses came to us and asked, "Oh, do you need any help? Maybe you have lost. Maybe you need a doctor. Some cars were stopped. Police have stopped. Oh, do you need any help?" People here are very good. You know, they have open heart, and when they see someone who is in need, they will definitely help you. And
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That is such a beautiful story. I'm not gonna soon forget the lady with the loaf of bread. Say, "Here, Father, here, take a." I mean, God bless them. I mean, but that is, Joe talks about it on the show, Father, all the time at the front line with Joe and Joe. You know, nobody wants to be poor. All right. But you have a different perspective on life when you don't have everything at your disposal. It's very humbling. And I just see, like, when I think about it, I think, you know, those people in many ways live much more fruitful lives than it seems we do in America. And I know it seems like I'm beating up on America, but I think we need to maybe keep things in perspective. And that's why that story hit me the way it did. But
as you were saying that, Father, it was reminding me a story that Mother Teresa told about a family that was starving. They hadn't eaten in a couple of days, and she brought a 50-pound bag of rice. And when the family received it, the mother immediately left, and she came back and half of it was empty. And she said, "Where did you go with the rice?" And she said, "The family next door was hungry." And she gave half of it to them. And it seems that, like, the luxuries that we have in Europe as well as in America, it hardens our hearts. See, that story is beautiful, what you're talking about. But I also think about, it reminded me of that story that Mother Teresa she would tell about sharing and how Christ is found in sharing. And many times it's the poor that understand that better than the rich. They teach us something.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I think sometimes too, the responsibility of people, we've been given so much, and we lose sight of that. It's so easy to lose sight, but when we lose sight of that, we lose sight of Jesus. He's there in front of us. All we have to do is extend a hand. Talk a little bit about your parish. I know when you arrived there, you've done a lot of things. Particularly, you mentioned the kindergarten that you started. I've seen a lot of pictures of it. What's going on with that? Because I think it's been a big help to the community where you serve.
Yeah, I wasn't the founder of the kindergarten. Priest, Father Zdzisław, who was here before me, he started this kindergarten. I'm just continuing and growing. Let's say it's growing up now, because, you know, we know that the problem here is also with with Christianity. As I told you, this is country after Soviet Union, and people have faith, strong faith in their hearts, but they have to also know more about God, and so that we started with the kindergarten, because for those children we can be like father or like mother, because I have two nuns who are cooperating with me. I can say it now, there will be a vicar priest in my parish, because we are still growing up. So we are taking care about 48 children in our kindergarten. We have school, and we are teaching catechism, because we know that only Jesus can give them hope. And to conclude, we have two things to do. Firstly, we are giving hope, we are giving Jesus Christ, and secondly, we are giving those children childhood, because the situation of war and poverty is very complicated, yeah, and we have to give them happy childhood. And this is what I want to say. When I came to this parish 5 years ago, it was, let's say, standard, typical Catholic parish. Yeah, of course, there was a confession, there was Holy Mass and Holy Rosary and something like that. But I felt in heart that it couldn't be like that. I think that here is a huge potential in this parish, in those parishes, because I'm pastor in two parishes. I have two parishes. And I started working with children, with young people, and now it is funny because when I'm talking to other people, they are asking, how many children and young people do you have in your parish? And I say, oh, more than 200. And they are thinking, hey, Father, but you said that your parish is 100 people. So how it is possible that you have more than 200 children and young people there? Because we have to know that here in Ukraine, Roman Catholics, we are only 2 or 3%. Yeah, and mostly around us there are Orthodox and some of Greek Catholics, but we are not closed for other people, because, as I told you before, people are looking for the hope. They are looking for the God, and so that we are taking care now for more than 200 children and young people. So
excellent.
Yeah.
What, Father? What?
Please,
just real quick. This is out of pure curiosity. The parents of these kids. Number one, how is what you've been doing affected them and help them as parents? Also, I'm very curious. What is the main source of employment? You mentioned the meager wages, but what sort of work do people in the Ukraine in your area, like what are they mostly involved with?
Hard to say, mostly, but I think generally it will be simple work. They are mechanics, they are builders, simple work, let's say that, physical work, that's something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Farmers, yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. I'm going to hand it over to Joe. You're with us at the front line with Joe and Joe. Joe Pasillo, Joe Rossinello, in the breach with Father Jakub Debicki, who is a missionary priest of the Catholic Church, serving right now in the Ukraine. So with that, Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Well, obviously, like our Lord said very specifically, that unless you become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. What have they taught you, these children? I mean, like, children have an honesty to them that's unparalleled. I mean, just as a father of 5, I also sometimes marvel at how children forgive each other. Like, my children will fight, and then immediately They forgive each other, how adults don't do that. And I marvel at that, just observing them sometimes. What have they taught you? Because I'll be honest with you, my kids teach me a lot, as much as sometimes I try to teach them.
I think that I can say that children here in our parish, in our kindergarten, teach me something very important, this hope, because, when I see them, they don't know what is going on. They are always laughing. They are always in joy because they know that someone will take care for them. And, they are people of hope. So I think those children are great teachers for me. And, when I came here, it is another funny story. I I also became like a child, because I had to talk to them. I had to celebrate Holy Mass for them. And I think that this hope that nothing can happen, my father will protect me. Yeah? And the same thing that for me as a priest, nothing bad can happen. My Father in heaven will protect me. Yeah, and this hope, this is the best lesson for me. I will tell you the funny story because it's also something when I caught myself on this. Some time ago, I went to Poland, to my home city in Gdynia, and it was parish in area where are a lot of, let's say, old people, yeah, retired people and something like that. And I was celebrating Holy Mass, and those Holy Mass when I was celebrating was beautiful. It was, let's say, ideal, something like that. When you have to sing, they were singing. When I was talking, the preaching, they were listening. Everything was going in a perfect way. Yeah. But I felt bad. I felt, oh my God, something is not okay here. Something is not bad. And after after those Holy Mass, I was thinking, oh, I'm not in my parish because when I'm celebrating Mass in my parish, I have a lot of children, and always someone is crying, always someone is screaming, someone is laughing. I have older boys, about 25 boys. So can you imagine what is going on there? Because they are sitting behind my back and they think that I cannot see them. Yeah. so this is Holy Mass with a great joy, and and this is something funny. So I think that those are two things that children taught me: joy in our faith, that you come to the church for Holy Mass or another prayer. And this is not only the tradition, this is not only part of being a Christian, but this is a great joy, meeting of our God. And the second thing is hope, that my Father in heaven can protect me in all situations.
And I also think Christ is very close to children, particularly poor children. I mean, I'll share with you something that happened to me in my own life. I was in Haiti at a Mass. This is many years ago, before I was married. And it was an outdoor church, and there were many children there from a school, very poor. And the Mass began, and there was a big statue of the Sacred Heart, and they began to sing. I mean, like 300 kids. And I was just like, oh my God, like God is here. Like, I mean, like, I'm not even kidding. It actually almost like was a hard wind that blew me over, because they were poor children and there was a huge statue of Christ. And I was just like, holy Christopher Columbus, I can't even believe this. Like, there's something to that. That we miss, I think. Again, it's our own lives. We get caught up in them, that we just miss that. But Christ is there. and in a tangible way. Could you talk about other experiences you've had with these children? Because I can remember one time you shared with me a couple of kids that were causing you a little bit of trouble, and you made them altar boys, and they kind of changed. They surprised you, because sometimes kids surprise you. You think the one kid that's not going to come around, all of a sudden he comes around, and he comes around in a way that you never expected.
Yeah. This is another funny story, because some time ago, few boys came to my parish to become altar boys, and I knew that boys that they are making huge problems at school. Teachers have problem with that. I knew also those families huge problem with alcoholism. So I knew that those boys need love, and they came to me and they said that they want to be altar boys. And I said, okay, guys, let's talk like man. Why you want to be altar boy in my parish? Because you are Orthodox, you have never been on our Holy Mass. And what happened to you that you wanted to be our altar boys? And they said that another boy who goes to one class with them said about our parish, and I am telling that now, that he came an apostle of them, that he is apostle at school. He is talking about our parish, and that this is a place for children, for young people, because we have to know that Orthodox and Greek Catholics are very traditional. You cannot, during the Holy Mass, you cannot, smile, you cannot talk, you cannot, you have to keep your child like this, to not move, and if some children will move or cry or something like that, all people say, shh, be quiet, keep your children, keep the discipline. And in our parish we have another experience. We let children to feel free to come to Jesus Christ, and we are not screaming for them. No, and those boys came to me. And the funny story is that I said, okay, boys, now I know your situation, but you are young boys, and you have to bring me permission from your parents that you will able to be altar boys, and they let you, because I cannot let you to my parish to be altar boys before without permission from your parents. And they came after 5 minutes. They came back, and they brought me, piece of paper. Those were boys from 3rd or 4th class. So I saw that they write those permission by themselves, and I was reading, and I said, did your parents know about that? And they said, oh yes, of course, fathers, yes, of course. Okay, I will risk, and I will let you. And I wanted to be strict, but in my soul I was laughing, because what is the funny fact? I was doing the same when I was young.
And me too, Father. Me too. I just want to throw that out there.
So they came to me. Let's be honest. They wanted to do something wrong. Let's be honest. But I couldn't be bad for them, because I was the same. And they came to me, and they are still here. So this is beautiful story. Okay, maybe they are not the most polite children in our parish, but it's okay.
They're on the way.
That's great, because you gave them a chance. I mean, sometimes, doesn't Christ do that for us all? Like nobody comes perfect. We got to give people a chance. You gave them a chance.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Father Jakub Debicki, who's joining us here at the front line with Joe and Joe. What is, because we only have a few minutes left. You mentioned earlier, and I was not aware of this, that the Catholic population of Ukraine is only around 3%. Is that correct?
Roman Catholic, yeah.
Roman Catholic. So then the rest, I'm assuming, primarily, as you said, Orthodox, whether Greek Orthodox or Russian Orthodox, just Eastern Orthodoxy. What is, from your vantage point, again, we only have a few minutes, but what is the state of Ukrainian culture? I would be curious as far as like the general view of the population on things like abortion, transgenderism. I mean, is it similar to, let's say, Western Europe or America? Is it a little bit more sane? How would you describe the culture of the Ukraine?
Okay, we have to separate those things, because abortion is another way of thinking, and those transgenders, gay, and those things, this is another thing. Starting from the second, here there is very traditional society, so things about transgender or something like that, let's say, doesn't exist. People even doesn't talk about it, because this is so traditional society. Maybe they are here in big cities or something like that, but this is not a problem for our society. This is a very traditional society, and this topic doesn't exist. But abortion is another problem, because as I told you before, this is country after the Soviet Union, and in the Soviet Union, abortion was I don't know how to say, like visiting a doctor. So, you know, they came doing the stuff and coming back. So when I confess people, for example, old women who have 70, 80 years, and they said, Father, I made 10, 11 abortions because everyone have done it. I came to doctor for a control, and he said to me, oh, I made abortion because I thought that it will be better, you know. So so this is a huge problem here, because after this, the Soviet Union, people are doing it. And, you know, here in Ukraine, we Roman Catholics are only, as I told you, 3%. And we are talking about that, but people don't hear us. People don't hear us. We are talking about them. I'm confessing those people. My parishioners, I know they are coming to school, to place they work, and they talk about it, that this is the sin, and come here to our parish, we will help you, we will be for you like a family. But you know, this is a huge problem. I will tell you that I was reading official statistics in 2019. In Ukraine, there was 1,200 abortions per day. So, and this is only about 45 million country. So, it's a huge, huge number.
Well, it sounds huge. I think in America, I think it's a little over 2,300 a day, but we have 350 million people. And it's kind of like a contradiction, Father, when you think about it. On the one hand, as you said, very traditional minded in terms of gender roles, things like that. But yet, I guess, like you said, it's that residue of the Soviet Union, the atheistic, communistic, materialistic worldview that doesn't value. Let's be clear, doesn't value human life. I mean, the Marxists, the atheists are very clear about that, and I'm sure that's what they're dealing with in the Ukraine. Father, any final thoughts for our audience? We only have about 30 seconds or so left. Something you could leave us with. Obviously, you're going to ask us for our prayers, maybe a place where our audience could go if they want to contribute to your parish or help in any way.
Yeah, you can, of course, I will ask for pray, because, you know, Russian is coming to the border, and we have, as you know, a lot of problems here inside Ukraine, especially abortion and poverty and other stuff. So we need a lot of prayers, and I think that we have to pray together for God. And if you wanna support us in our humble projects, in running the kindergarten, running the school, and building another thing for our children and young people, you can do so when you go to our website and follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram. We are everywhere. So please join
Father,
us.
what's the parish again? What's the name of the parish again?
In English, it will be All Saints, but I can better write in Polish or Ukrainian.
Father, you send us an email with the link, and when this is available for podcast, we'll put in the link. We have to leave it there. We want to thank Father Jakub Debicki for joining us here at the Frontline with Joe and Joe. And we want to thank you all out there for joining us on the Veritas Catholic Radio Network, 1350 on your AM dial, 103.9 on your FM dial, spreading the truth of the Catholic faith to the New York City metropolitan area. Please be sure, as I mentioned earlier, download the Veritas Catholic Network mobile app so that you could have access to all of our station's content. And if you would, visit the Frontline TV on YouTube. That's where you can like, subscribe, share, and support Joe and I there. And remember, until the next time, that our conversation is your conversation, and that conversation is going on everywhere.